even if this might be it.
We'll see.
So I'd just like to welcome Congressman Mike Nicholas to our meeting. And thank you again for accepting my invitation to work together on these war reparations, because I think it's a very important piece of legislation. It's something that our people has been looking forward to, and I think we need to be united on it. And just to say again and reiterate that you have my full support on the your efforts for the war reparation, and of course your HR 1365.
Thank you, Governor.
So I invited Mike to sit down and talk about just these issues, and I wanted you, Mike, to be, please know that my intention was fully just to go over there and support you in your HR 1365, because there's been some, questions, there's been some concerns, and I think those concerns are only that we work together in my mind. So I hope you accept that, and we'll move forward and working together.
Thank you, Governor.
So are we done?
I mean, you're the one that asked to meet, so I'm going to
Yes,
discuss
and
whatever
so any comments or feedback in my wanting to continue our relationship in working for the war reparations and making sure that, your bill is passed and our bill here is also passed?
Well, I mean, so you're still wanting to move forward Bill 181?
Absolutely.
Yeah, then that's a problem, Governor. I made it very clear that 181 is going to create consternation inside the House and the Senate if we're trying to move a local measure that is going to be sending mixed signals with 1365.
Well, I totally don't agree with that. Josh and Tony was over there. They talked to the officials of the Senate, whose oversight of this Bill 1365. And my impression and my information is that it has little impact or minimal risk at all, as I see Bill 181 as complementing your work for HR 1365. Bill 181, all it specifically says is that we create an account here, and that we create the processes and the procedures that we need to do to work from an administrative perspective to try and start giving out the monies to our war survivors. And so I don't see it at all as conflicting or contrary to HR 1365. I see it as a complementary and a support for 1365.
Governor, I very much understand that's how you see it, but that's not how the Senate is seeing it. That's also not the message the Republicans brought back when they went out there and they met with those same officials. The Republicans even came straight up to me and they said, Congressman, we spoke to the Senate and they said if we move this local measure, it's going to get in the way of 1365. And I said, yeah, I'm not making it up. So I know that, 181 is something you're very passionate about, but it is going to cause a conflict with the movement in the Senate. So, I mean, that's just the reality of the ground.
I think we disagree on that, and we just move on. And I will continue to pursue 181 because I don't agree that it's going to negatively impact your HR 1365. And then on your side, you continue on with your HR 1365, and I will continue to support your HR 1365. So I think at the end of the day, we'll both benefit from it, and I guess we just leave it at that, and then we move on with what we need to do.
My concern isn't, who's going to benefit, Governor. My concern is making sure that we're going to get this war claims thing through.
That's right.
And, we've been communicating very clearly. I called up the legislature when they're trying to move the bill on the floor at that time. I'm surprised the Speaker pulled the bill in the most recent session when Josh and Tony apparently called her and told her to pull the bill. Could you shed some light on that as to why they
That
told her
was
to do that?
from a discussion with the Chief Investigative Counsel for the Senate of Judiciary, which your HR 1365 is. And it was to hold off for about 2 to 3 weeks because the officials there, as they were explained of what the bill is, felt that they wanted to apprise and they wanted to inform Senator Lindsey Graham, and that they wouldn't be able to meet with him till about 2 to 3 weeks. So they asked us to wait off, and we agreed, because we also wanted to see from Senator Lindsey Graham what his comments were. The discussions with my Lieutenant Governor and with my Chief of Staff is that the officials were very thankful that they were able to inform them about the bill and that they would relay that information to Senator Lindsey Graham. And that's why I asked the Speaker to pull it back for 2 to 3 weeks.
And that, Governor, just takes us all the way back to, when this whole thing started, because the goal was to first pass Bill 181 before Liberation Day on the 21st.
Right.
And then the bill came to the floor of the legislature about maybe a month ago, and it came back again about a couple weeks ago. And the message that you're constantly getting back from Washington now is still don't move this bill. If you had moved it in July, it would have been done without the Senate being checked on. It would have been done without the House being cleared. And so, and that's why I'm very concerned of all of this movement, because as much as, locally you're trying to push this local bill, the feedback, I mean, even from, their trip also said, we don't know anything about this, we don't know how this is going to impact things, and let's not move this forward at this time.
Well,
And even also in the media, Governor, you mentioned that they even said that 1365 may pass in November. So why are we putting all this risk on the table? If that's the communication that we have?
Because in my mind and in my discussions with people and in my research, Bill 181 is not gonna impact your HR 1365. And I have not gotten any feedback from Washington that it is going to impact. My feedback from Washington is that you're right, they don't even know about this bill, and they're not even tracking it. That's how insignificant in their mind Bill 181 is. And Bill 181 really was just introduced not in June or July, but it was introduced later. So Bill 181 was introduced because our discussions at the White House and at the administrations with DOI also is that we needed to set forth and establish legislation to create the account and the procedures to make it so that we can then get those monies or use the monies to advance, to pay for our war survivors who have been waiting. And I don't really care whether it benefits you or it benefits me. You're right, it's not about benefiting either one of us. It's about benefiting our war survivors who have waited for more than 75 years, Congressman. And I think you're adamant about that it's going to impact that. The only way it will impact is in a very positive way, because we will then have the procedure, we will then have the account, we will then have the monies, we will then be able to access those monies so we can start paying those adjudicated claims for the war survivors that I think we should start. And I expect that you would be supportive of Bill 181, and I was just actually surprised and amazed that you had put up such a defense against Bill 181, while I continue to be supportive of your HR 1365. So I just say, we do what we need to do, and I'm just going to say that what you do in Congress for war reparations, I totally will support. You have my full support. You have my full support of the Lieutenant Governor, my Chief of Staff, my administration, because, Mike, we need to move along, and we need to work together, and we need to be united on this, and we need to be showing our manumku that you and I as leaders can work together for their fight and for their struggles, and for them to feel a little bit compensated for the sacrifices and the horrendous experiences that they had to go through during World War II. So I'm just saying right now, we need to just, move on with this, and you have my full support, and I will continue with my Bill 181.
And that's where there's a problem, Governor, because you can't sit there and say that I have your full support, but you're going to keep pushing Bill 181 when I'm saying Bill 181 is going to compromise H.R. 1365.
And that's where we differ, because I see Bill 181 as complementing H.R. 1365.
But Governor, I'm the one in Washington.
H.R. 1365 is a means for us to access money to pay for the war reparations. Bill 181 is a means for us to access money to pay for war reparations. There is really no difference in what we're trying to do. We have the same common goal and the same common agenda, so we can move on to pay our manumku. Every day I read the paper, and there's like one or two of our dearest manumkus who passed away and can no longer now have their reparation. That really hurts me. And I have made the effort to reach out to you to come and let's work together. And I expect that in return from you.
Governor, first of all, the problem with Bill 181 is if you pass that, it's going to send a signal to the Senate that the urgency of 1365 is not there. And so while you want to rush out $7.5 million for those that have been adjudicated now, we still have over $40 million of unadjudicated claims that could be delayed indefinitely, because now the Senate's going to say, well, they're doing it locally. Why are we going to rush this thing out and get it handled?
No, because they are very
Governor,
much